Hello everyone, and welcome to the start of a new playthrough. This is Tyranny by Obsidian Entertainment. You may recognize that name, since they've had quite the pedigree. Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords, Neverwinter Nights 2, Fallout New Vegas, Alpha Protocol, Icewind Dale 2, and more recently, Pillars of Eternity. And now, of course, Tyranny. And Obsidian is also working on a brand new RPG, which I am very excited for. So, in anticipation, I thought I would play Tyranny and not Pillars of Eternity. While I do enjoy Pillars of Eternity, Tyranny really flew under the radar. From a very unique perspective, this RPG, it asks the question, what if evil won? And answers that with what happened next. I don't know much about this game beyond the first couple of minutes, but let's get started. I'll be playing it on, let's see. Well, I am familiar with Pillars of Eternity. I wouldn't call myself a veteran, so let's just play on normal. Let's see, expert mode. Disables the number of helper features. This is your Iron Man mode, which I won't be using. But let's get started. And as always,
for over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Narad, spymaster and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tyranny, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tyranny brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
what I was gonna say before being interrupted by the intro was, as always, I shall remain quiet during cutscenes like that. Alright. So we're gonna be a female Fatebinder this time around. And tall and buff works for me. In Northern Empire, where you were born, women enjoy equal protections under the laws of Overlord Kairos. In the southern lands of the Tiers, women may crew a ship, but only men may own or captain a vessel. While these customs give the oceans to the men, the lands are trusted to the women. Men may rent and lease, but only women may own land and bequeath it to their daughters and sisters. While following a parent's profession is standard, many women chose to pledge service to one of the Overlord's powerful Archons. Those without a viable trade or lands to call their own are often drafted into the armies of the Archons, where it is assumed they will rise to glory, or vanish in obscurity in accordance to their worth. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, hair. Let's see. What do we got? Anything? Eh. I like that one. Gives her a more Sith-ish look. And yes, I'm gonna be role-playing this like I'm playing as a Sith Lord in Star Wars: The Old Republic, because, hey, we're on the evil's won. We are on the dark side.
On the lookout. We must rest soon. Will do.
See that? Heads up, we have come. You learn something every day. I'll just hold on to this. Ah, got it.
And we're gonna be a spellcaster mainly, because spellcasters are freaking awesome. Bet you can't really zoom in on their face. That'll do. Now, how did we join Kairos' army? Since I did say we'd be the magic user, our best bet would either be Guild Apprentice or War Mage. You guys probably know which I'm gonna go with. Few have the combination of wits and courage to be accomplished casters and warriors, and those cursed with such a combination of talents are invariably pulled from their mundane lives and assigned to the armies of the Archons. Your earliest memories are a painful slog of training, study, lecture, and exhaustion. All the elements of being groomed for battle. You knew better than to ask what became of your family, nor to question the missives allegedly penned by their hand that were part of your earliest lessons in reading. When you reach your adulthood, Tunon, the adjudicator, sorry, I'm gonna mess up some of these lines, adjudicator came to the barracks and laid claim to your life. Seeing you as too valuable for the crucible of battle, the Archon of Justice deemed your life better spent dedicated to the art of punitive legal remedies. Though you had much to learn in matters of civil discourse, none could deny your bright future as Tunon's next great enforcer. Yeah, diplomat. Negotiation is irrelevant. Now let's learn a bit more about Tunon before we continue. Tunon, the Adjudicator, is the Archon of Justice, ruler of conquered realms, and arbiter of disputes. Oldest of the Archons sent to conquer the Tiers, Tunon speaks as Kairos' authority. His true appearance remains hidden behind an iron mask, the face of judgment. Tunon is an impartial, sober creature, wholly obsessed with justice and order. Though assumed to be a powerful combatant, Tunon rarely strays from his throne room, entrusting his court of fate-binders to act as his eyes and ears, as well as judges, juries, and executioners. Now let's see. As one of Tunon's fate-binders, you receive training in the arts of war, the intrigue of magic, and the inexhaustible depths of Kairos' law. Across the Northern Empire, the education of a fate-binder is second to none. Those bearing the title are expected to read instructions and understand the economics of the realms in which they operate. Literacy and mathematics skills, rarely found on Tyranny, are essential skills in the execution of law. Subtler talents like speechcraft or tactics are honed with time and experience under Tunon's guidance. And then Kairos is the Overlord. For centuries, the Overlord has consolidated power, sending vast armies to swallow entire realms. The most powerful mystic the world has ever seen, Kairos can issue edicts, magical proclamations that level cities, spread pox, sunder the lands, or change the course of seasons. The Archons, the masters of magic throughout the known world, bow to Kairos, and the Overlord readily destroys any Archon unwilling to kneel. The sorceresses and madmen lead the Overlord's armies in near-endless conquest. As the realms of the known world fall to the Overlord, these captured territories are divvied up amongst the Archons to manage. Able to deliver suffering and woe to every corner of Tyrannus without leaving the capital, she have seen the Overlord in person. Though Kairos' name is the single most recognized name in the world, only the Archons can say what the Overlord looks like. We're going to be starting with shock spells, because Sith. As for our secondary ability, believing that all of his agents should be well-rounded, Tunon ordered that you receive training in a secondary combat style. Fate Binders are often deployed in treacherous circumstances, and one's ability to adapt to unexpected changes, like sudden violence or legal entanglement, can represent the difference between life and death. Let's see. Frost spells. Let's see. We could do Atrophy. Or Titan's Touch. That'd be a buff. Or we could freeze someone. Develop a target in harsh cold, leaving them frozen. Or, let's see, gather entropic energy and channel into an enemy, stacking, sapping. Frost and shock. Perfect. Alright, I'm just gonna play around with these and just customize ourselves a little bit. Let's see, we are the Harbinger of Death, so... Don't want to exactly go in with a super loud outfit or anything. Perfect. Now, the name. A mighty war mage. I know exactly what to name you. Or do I? I think in the spirit of the expanded universe. Yeah, Belaya Darzu. Let's do this. And now these skills that are highlighted here are the most beneficial for your chosen starting abilities. So I'm gonna pump 14 into wits, 12 to quickness, one in resolve, and one in might. Gonna pump a bunch into magic staff, since that's what I'm gonna be using for most of the game. lore skill is important, so I'm going to bring that one up to the meaning of life, and more dodge is always nice. And now we got two options here. We can either quick start or we can conquest. Selecting the quick start option will bypass the conquest phase of character creation. You will select from a list of available templates for how your character was involved in Kairos' conquest of the tiers. This will affect the starting state of the game. Or conquest. Selecting the conquest option will allow you to play through Kairos' conquest of the tiers, choosing how your character was involved in the invasion. This gives you the most control over the starting state of the game and how other factions will react to your character. Alright, let's go.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
And that will be their downfall. During the conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. No pressure. Ooh, I like the board game aesthetic. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the tiers. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Named for its position between two realms, the Northern Empire and the Southern Tiers, the Bastard City and its surrounding lands known as the Bastard Tier is a melting pot of cultures and a place of commerce and intrigue. The Tiersmen of the South view the Bastard City as a place of wealth and excess, but to the people of the Northern Empire, the Bastard City is little more than a sprawling slum. Tunon the Adjudicator established his court in the Bastard City. From this foothold in the Tiers, he and his court of Fatebinders imposed Kairos' laws upon the conquered land. So, the Bastard City has already fallen. We just need to fill in the details. So we can either infiltrate the Tiers, both armies send their forces to prepare the way, or Gates of Judgment. In the first major engagement of the war, Kairos' armies cross the mountains and establish a foothold. Let's take them down from within. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with the advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? Okay, I'm not gonna go through all of this. Basically, the Scarlet Chorus are a bunch of thugs banded together. They take the conquered lands, make slaves of the inhabitants, and forcibly conscript them. So they are very much about the numbers, whereas the Disfavored are more elite. They're more about efficiency and proficiency. They are fewer than the Scarlet Corps, but overall the better army. And in this case, I'm gonna be more like Grand Admiral Thrawn and side with the disfavored. I'm gonna aid the disfavored scouts. You lent your skills to the elite disfavored scouts to capture a border garrison. Graven Ash insisted that an early victory in the offensive would boost the morale of his troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. Graven Ash is the Archon in charge of the disfavored. The Oathbound Scouts identified a modest border defense and collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinions on the strategy. When the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of disfavored scouts, you were the least surprised. Inside Agent, or we can contain a fire. The Bastard City's resident fire mages threatened the first leg of the Conquest. Kairos' forces put a stop to their unchecked power. Or Inside Agent, you found an ally within the city to prepare the way for the approaching armies. Infiltration is still our best bet. With the border garrison captured by your disfavored allies, you traveled ahead of Kairos' armies and lurked in the shadows of the Bastard City. You decided that converting one of the locals to Kairos' side would help bring the city to its knees. After all, corruption starts from within. So we can either take a fast-talking smuggler, or a well-informed guard captain. The smuggler would just get caught. You enlisted a bitter captain of the guard to sell military secrets to the disfavored. Better that Kairos' forces march to their next inevitable victory well-informed. Captain of the guard was of a mind that the Bastard City was corrupt and deserving of better leadership. You did nothing to convince him otherwise. After taking your promises of stature and security to heart, he offered you a list of valuable assets, from weakened stones in the rampart to the state of siege provisions, capping it off with a list of city officials whose loyalties could likewise be turned to support your cause. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city's defenses for the arrival of Kairos' forces, but you wanted a decisive gesture that would give your allies a meaningful advantage. How did you assist in the fall of the Bastard City? Now we can either side with the disfavored or the Scarlet Chorus again, or we can take the Kairos route, the neutral route basically, and spread fear through assassination. And each of these gives you a extra ability. Let's see. Betrayal of the Bastard City, Duel of the City Marshal. You challenge the commander of the Bastard City's defenses to an honorable fight to the death. The disfavored wish to spare soldier lives for the battles ahead, and civilian lives for occupation. This gives us warrior respite. Stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time you will regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. So once per encounter. That doesn't really fit with my build. Or we could incite a riot. Spreading the word of Kairos, converted the poor and disaffected into a hidden army of the Scarlet Chorus. Once the dust settled, the army wished to bolster their troops with these sleeper cells. This gives us Searing Palm, which deals 8 to 15 fire damage. Let's see. Gather heated energy into your hands, release it onto a foe. The target ignites in flames, burning over time. That sounds pretty good. Or, keep it to the shadows. You eliminated the leaders of the Bastard City one by one, and this gives us Concealing Shadows. Create a cloud of obscuring shadows and dust. For a short duration, enemies that use physical attacks against you have a significantly increased chance to miss. During this time, your attacks will also be less effective. Despite the shit I've been giving them, I'm going to go with the Scarlet Chorus for this one. We incite a riot, we spread chaos, and their defenses are no match for the rest of our forces. Plus, Searing Palm seems like the better choice starting ability. in my opinion. We infiltrated, and now we're going to bring them down. It didn't take much to convince the bastard cities downtrodden that Kairos was a superior power. You armed them with weapons and knowledge of a signal you would raise when the time was right. As the armies appeared outside the walls, you ignited the spark that fanned their anger into a full-scale riot. The chaos they spread in Kairos' name weakened the city to such an extent that its inevitable fall was but a formality. The bastard city settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. So, Lethian's Crossing is another realm. It's a trade settlement. Let's see. Population swelled with refugees fleeing the destruction of their homelands. The presence of the forge-bound mining the iron along with their guards makes this makeshift settlement a vital resource. Or the Apex. The troops of the mountain realm of the Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the Bastard Tier fell. In the second year of war, joint forces of the Favored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the Tier's central valley. Well, we should show them that they can't avoid the war forever. The mountain nation of Apex, ruled for generations by the queens of House Vendrin, stood at the heart of the Tiers. No army could bypass the landlocked realm without leaving their flank exposed to attack. By the second year of the war, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus had pushed deep into the Tiers. Elements of both armies were dispatched to conquer Apex. Tunon assigned you to accompany them, tasked with bringing Kairos' law to the territory, as well as keeping an eye on both armies. Also, just a side note, while I did give my character a last name, she will be mostly referred to as either Fatebinder Darzu or Fatebinder Belaya, as I see fit. The game is just gonna call her Fatebinder Belaya Darzu. Okay, Denial of Strength. The new school of mages presented problems and opportunities. The Battle of Edgering Pass. The Archon of Stone's assault was perhaps too successful. Mage. Let's get some mages on our side. A school of water mages loyal to the Tiersmen posed a substantial threat. The Disfavored wished to annihilate the school, while the Scarlet Chorus insisted on capturing the mages wishing to learn of their craft. It could lead to losses, but honestly, the benefits of having these mages outweigh the numbers we would probably lose. Let's side with the Scarlet Chorus for this. Though countless lives were lost, taking the mages into custody, the Scarlet Chorus praised your name as they dragged the beaten elders of the school to the Voices of Nerat's tent. As a wave of screams and incoherent pleas reached a crescendo, the Scarlet Chorus soldiers outside cheered for their Archon. The Disfavored adjourned to their camp in grim silence, claiming the Chorus lacked the will and desire to fully wipe out all traces of the enemy school. Well, they're just gonna have to deal with it. Poisoning the well. Kairos' forces debate over the fate of the enemy captain, or poisoning the well. Horde communication led to the gruesome death of Disfavored scouts. Helping to break the siege, Scarlet Chorus agents poisoned the Apex water supply in secret. Days later, uninformed Disfavored scouts died of illness. Outraged by the failure of communication, the Disfavored demanded that the Chorus agents be turned over to them for punishment. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. You have held the charges ordering the Scarlet Chorus agents delivered to the disfavored. Justice will be served, but at the risk of seeding discontent between the two armies. Let's see what this other one says. A captive captain. When Kairos' forces captured a celebrated enemy hero, the armies bickered over his fate. The disfavored want him set free to convince his peers of Kairos' mercy. The Scarlet Chorus want him flayed and staked as an example. This one's fair. We need to send a message. You agree with the disfavored plans and sent the enemy captain back with a message. All those who surrendered or cooperated would be treated with deserving respect as subjects of Kairos' peace. Shocked by your clemency, the enemy captain vowed to deliver his message in full, and paid his respects before departing for his encampment. Though typically more uncompromising, the disfavored praised your innovative thinking. The Scarlet Chorus despised what they viewed as resources wasted, only to release a known enemy back into the wild. Well, they can fucking deal with it. With the defeat of Apex and inevitability, the armies of Kairos met to discuss how to put an end to the stage of Conquest. Both armies agreed to send an officer of parley. Along with their acceptance, the enemy requested that you appear at the meeting. Word of your fair dealings had apparently spread to their ranks. How did you orchestrate the surrender of the realm of Apex? We either negotiate the surrender or challenge the Queen. Through days of meditation, you negotiated the surrender of the valley to Kairos' forces, putting an end to further bloodshed. Your former enemies were loath to part with their lands, but they were even more reluctant to continue a war they were losing at every turn. The Tearsmen are a stubborn lot, and despite their grim situation, it still took days of discussion and diplomacy to show them the madness of tenacity. On the third day of meditation, the rulers of Apex finally submit to your terms and surrender, putting an end to the war in the valley, and freeing up Kairos' forces to march deeper into the Tears. The land of the Apex finally rested in the hands of Kairos' forces. The Scarlet Chorus paused to revel in victory, while the disfavored prepare for the next fight, affording themselves but an evening's rest. Kairos' armies radiated out from the conquered citadel, and worked their way across the tiers. The disfavored and Scarlet Chorus aimed to dominate as much territory as possible in the coming year. Your distinguished reputation in Kairos' military left the choice of your next destination yours to make. And I know exactly where I'm going. Vellum Citadel. Kairos' conquering gaze fell upon the Vellum Citadel. Its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that, centuries ago, carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by the other major realms. Legend said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. Song of Ensnarement. Siren's song ensnared some stealthy sages. Try saying that 5 times fast. Chain of command. A peaceful surrender turns bloody. A detachment of Kairos' army marched on the Vellum Citadel, expecting an orderly surrender. As they neared the main gates, a blast of arcane energy struck the commanders dead. Suddenly, the highest-ranking officer alive, Kairos' forces looked to you for the next steps. The call weighed on your mind, as it had an immediate influence on soldier losses. The Scarlet Chorus are expendable. They're just slaves, really. You ordered the expendable Scarlet Chorus to attack, commanding the disorderly mob forward to give the elite disfavored a chance to withdraw. Though a costly maneuver in terms of lives lost, this assured the survival of the most capable and effective soldiers. Ever itching for a fight, the howling mob still recognized your maneuver, the sacrificial move that it was. Those from the Scarlet Chorus who ran headlong into battle made promises of a reckoning upon their return. Thankfully for you, hardly any of them lived back in one piece. Those few who survived made fevered whisperings their grievances, naming you as a villain to the Scarlet Chorus. Yeah, well, the Scarlet Chorus are a bunch of babies. The entire team is babies. Lost to the mountains. Intercepted intelligence, resulted in a lost disfavored patrol or plunder of parchment. A dispute over contraband parchment turns violent. Army captured a supply caravan overflowing with arcane books. When the disfavored started a bonfire of forbidden texts, the Scarlet Chorus rescued the tomes from the flames and attacked. Let's see. Let's see what this one is. Lost in the mountains. Disfavored learned of a hidden enemy enclave and sent scouts to locate it. They never returned from their mission. The remaining disfavored soldiers demanded that you send the Scarlet Chorus to retrieve their scouts, but the Scarlet Chorus flatly refused to fall into the same trap. They recommended that the scouts be treated as wartime casualties. Fuck you, find our scouts. You ordered the Scarlet Chorus to send scouts to locate and rescue the lost disfavored patrol. Though the Scarlet Chorus were bitter at having their time wasted in search of lost soldiers, grandstanding before their rivals in the disfavored was an opportunity too delicious to ignore. Tracking the Legion yielded them the sight of an ambush, where spell-slinging mages had the last of the disfavored scouts pinned down. After launching a successful counterattack, the chorus escorted the shaken and humiliated disfavored scouts back to the camp. The Edict of Fire. Crestfallen by the preferential treatment you showed the disfavored, the Scarlet Chorus retreated deeper into the mountains, leaving your detachment with the skeleton crew. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an Edict of Fire on the enemy. The parchment would arrive in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it, the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee, or make amends. They made their choice. Opting to give the enemy no quarter, you proclaimed the Edict of Fire at the first moments of dawn, granting the enemy no warning of the destruction to come. Though the chorus insisted your actions doomed their spies, the disfavored applauded your decision. You read the edict as the new sun rose behind the, you read the edict as the new sun rose behind the citadel, casting a long shadow in its wake. You were the last person to see that hall of knowledge, the moment before the devastation. The earth shook, and red-orange light glowed in the foundation of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava, heaved with explosive force, gushing from the windows and between loose bricks, melting hostile trenches in the surrounding land. The mages awoke to smoke and fire. For most, it is already too late. Only a handful of bewildered mages escaped the smoldering collapse of the massive library fortress. Kairos' will be done, and through victory our chains are broken. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as you journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno, the last gasps of survivors or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. You have reached the end of Kairos' conquest. And yeah, like I'm gonna go through all that just to replay on like 1 or 2 choices. Let's begin the game proper. Give my voice a chance to rest.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The 2 armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you. You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Nice transition. Fatebinder Darzu, I presume. We've been expecting you. Alright, let's talk to you. Alright, Kairos the Overlord be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. The disfavored warrior clasps her gauntlet to her breastplate, the traditional salute of her legion. Pleasure to see you again, Fatebinder. You were with us since before the first official days of the Conquest, and so it's fitting you're here now, in what I hope is the last gasp of resistance from these backwater tiersmen. Conversations involve you and another character, and sometimes additional parties like bystanders or companions who may interject. The choices you make will change how the story develops and will build a reputation for your character over time. People in the world will learn of your reputations, good and bad, and respond accordingly. Your character's attributes, skills, history, and gender, as well as the decision you made in Conquest, may all open up options for you in dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to the other responses, but give you a wider variety of choices to select from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Each character who speaks to you will display a banner beneath their portrait. These banners indicate which faction the character is allied with. The tooltip on these banners will provide you details about how that faction feels about you. You will often see the names of important characters and locations displayed in a gold text color. The tooltips on these glossary entries provide you with important information about the world. Here's hoping you can convince the Archons to settle on a plan to crush the Oathbreakers. That is why you're here, right? And we do have some good favor with the disfavored. Ironic. Can you hear that hum in the air? That glow around the rocks? The avalanche is Kairos' magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. Your senses see more than mine, good Fatebinder. I do not pretend to know much about such things. But if that was Kairos' magic, and you're here on important business, well, you don't have to be the Archon of Secrets to guess that you're here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague? An edict of twisted bones? I come bearing an edict of Kairos. Our soldiers will complete their task or die. The edict is leveled against us? Her eyes widen with fear. Her posture slackens. But the Scarlet Chorus prevents us from taking action. Why would the Overlord punish both of... She clears her throat with a sigh. Forgive me. It's not my place to question. We should have conquered the enemy within weeks of arriving in the valley. The delay reflects poorly on all of us. Okay, so... if we all follow Kairos' will and stop the insurrection, no harm will come to any of us. Following orders and killing the locals will save our lives. You don't have to tell me twice. And I sure hope you don't have to tell the Archons twice either. She looks at you with a nervous smile. Still, this is all coming from the Firestarter, the Fatebinder that made fire bubble up from the soil and reduced the Vellum Citadel to ash, so you'll forgive me if I'm still terrified all the same. Well, you traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons will want to hear from you at... Her voice falls silent, her attention snapping eastward with alarm. Did you hear that? More runners. Third time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. She points over to the collapsed path by which you arrived. But they're a bit too late for that now. Come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. So we shall. So we shall.
Yes.
Alright. So, I think the first thing to do is
Will do.
set you on fire. Let's see. And this combat system is real-time with pause. If you've played Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate, Planescape Tournament, or more recently Pillars of Eternity, you should be very familiar with this system. And then this here is just a HUD tour. I'm just going through this myself since it's been a while since I've looked at this game. Forgot how the HUD works. It's a very different HUD compared to Pillars. Alright. Okay, that fire seems to work. And now...
Aye.
freeze! Vegan police!
On it.
Haha. That one's down. Let's check further along the path for more. Did I level up from that? Yep, Elia Darzu annihilated Honor Guard. Ah, I love that. 6 character categories of talents to your character. With each level, you give him a point to purchase a talent from any of these categories. First, let's take some potion protection plus 2 armor for 300 seconds and a whetstone. Let's take everything and this is our quest log. Here's our character portrait. Yeah, we haven't even leveled. It was just telling us how that works for later, I guess. This avalanche has us blocked. Think you could fit through the rubble? We should be vigilant and deal with the remaining Oathbreakers in the pass. Hang on. Damn, I fucked up with that. I'm gonna reload that conversation.
The year is 430.
I'm gonna skip through this because I've already went through it all. Sorry everyone.
Will do.
This is all my bad. I won't miss a chance to kick this guy's ass again.
I got it.
Fire. Heh. Dang. And now, instead of freezing him, I cast Fist. Well, he didn't explode into gibs, but... it was cool when it happened the first time. Alright, now let's actually talk to her. We should be vigilant and deal with the remaining Oathbreakers in the pass. This seems like a suicide mission. What did the Veteran Guard hope to accomplish? From what we've learned from the other prisoners, the runners are instructed to escape the valley and drum up support for the Oathbreakers' cause elsewhere in the tiers. Roro shrugs. I don't know who they think will listen to their pleas. We smashed every army, fortress, and self-proclaimed ruler these low-born tiersmen have to offer. Perhaps they think the wild beasts will rally to their side. His favorite victory is soaked in tears with fear. I doubt anyone would rally to their hopeless cause. My thoughts exactly. They lost this war years ago. This is a little more than the last gasp of a dying people. I've been traveling for days. How much longer until I reach the Archon? You're almost to your destination. Once we clear past the enemy, just head south down the foothills. From there, it should just be a matter of hours to the encampments. Alright, now we can carry on. Now we gotta get through here. See, I don't have enough athletics to move the boulder, so we're just gonna squeeze through the gap. Hey, buddy. Oh. Did my spells fail to cast? Activates Charged Fist. Oh, yeah, they missed. Alright. I'm setting you on fire.
Die!
Because fuck you. That's why. We do have health potions this time around. Let's see.
Right.
There we go. That's Charged Fist. We did 8 damage. But...
For the glory of Kairos!
Aye.
Freeze! good, our health does regenerate out of combat, so... I kind of like that it does that. And we have a thrown weapon. Let's see, 7 to 12 pierce damage, it's just a throwing knife. Any other loot? No? Okay. Who are you? Don't bother with me. Go down to the pass. Drastus. The soldier clutches his gut and winces. You can see a hint of entrails between his fingers. You're wounded, and it's not trivial. He laughs through his clenched teeth. This? But a scratch. I've seen twice as worse 10 times over. He doubles over in pain, gagging and shivering. Well, if you'll let me help. I said I'm fine. The soldier moans and shakes his head. Graven Ash protects. You must go on and help the others. Alright, if you're sure. Can I quick save? That's F6, not F5. Ah, a shroom. Huh. In this game, mushrooms bring you back from the dead. Several skulls, bleached by the sun and picked clean by carrion birds, are spiked on a roughly hewn post. It is the only heraldry the Scarlet Chorus needs. Oh great, we're gonna have to deal with them.
Try and catch me, worm.
A young Scarlet Fury weaves around the Vendran Guard attackers, avoiding their weapons with fluid grace. She nods to acknowledge you. And these guys are basically the elite of the Scarlet Chorus. Not sure how much that says, but... A breathless enemy soldier passes a glance to her countrymen. This one's crazy! Too much lead in her water. We should cut our losses and turn back.
Ha, Fate Finder. Here at last. Care to join me in putting these cowards out of their misery?
That depends. Oh, she nods to the armed soldiers bearing down on her. That depends. Who are you?
Are you serious? I came to escort you to camp when... Damn it! Kill first, questions later.
She nearly ducks a swipe from a Vendrian blade. You look like you're handling yourself well enough.
That I am. But I could use someone watching my back.
For the realm of Apex, charge! The Vendrian Guard leveled their weapons in advance. Well, I'm just gonna have to stick a fork in their face or something. We do have Verse in our party now, and she has her own abilities, but I'm gonna use one on that, and then I'm gonna go after this guy in the back here. Set you on fire. And I'm gonna give you a bit of a shock.
Right.
Alright, and now we can gang up on this last guy. And if first knock your target prone involves strong bleeding attack, I will probably show that off in a later battle since it's only one guy. Or girl.
Phew. I can tell you didn't spend the Conquest in a diplomat's tent.
The fighter surveys the fresh corpses and nods with satisfaction.
I'm Verse, by the way. But there are more important things to take care of than introductions. Those Vendrian Guard we killed didn't come alone.
She gestures to the skirmish unfolding in the pass below, shaking her head. Why are the Vendrian Guard attacking now?
My guess? The Vendrian Guard are testing our strength in battle, learning how we perform before they organize a real offensive. That or they're really desperate to get beyond the mountains and couldn't wait until nightfall.
Not so fast. First, explain what you're doing here.
The voices of Nerat told me to intercept you at Edgering Ruins before you busied yourself solving all of the camp's problems. Guess I was too late. You're due for a meeting with the Archons, but we should handle the small matter of this ambush first.
So the voices of Nerat are basically the Archon for the Scarlet Chorus. If fight like a storm. What's your role in the army?
A Scarlet Fury, one of the elite killers of our ignoble gang. You'll see more than a few of us around camp, but don't let that fool you. We're a rare breed. Most of the soldiers in the Scarlet Chorus are little more than farmers and children armed with rusted forks. Makes them easier to control.
Easier to control, perhaps, but shitty soldiers.
The voices of Nerat called his best fighters to this siege. There must be something important about Vendrian's well, though don't ask me what. The Archon isn't in the habit of spilling secrets.
I'm ready if you are.
Eager. I like that. Before we go, you might search among the remains of our fallen comrades. Wherever they're bound, I doubt they'll miss their boots, much less any rings or any useful iron they might be clutching.
I see your point. Nice and practical.
No reason to pity the fallen. Before long, we might wish we'd joined them here. But at least we'll enjoy heavy pockets and warm toes.
Indeed.
For the voices of Nerat!
Verse furrows her brow and focuses down on the battle to come.
I got it.
Alright, now let's loot everyone. We've got Hide, Vendor Bait, Scroll List or Sigil of Reaching Grasp, and that needs a lore strength of 35, another healing potion, and a Scarlet Fury helm, which I will not be wearing because fuck the Scarlet Chorus. Let's... Oh wow, that's a lot of them. Tarkus Demos. Eyes forward, no looking back. The Vendrian Guard warrior roars with his falx held high, his words largely lost over the din of combat. Falx is a enduring symbol of military life in the tiers, adapted from the agrarian sides of Azure. This curved blade was in ages past the weapon of peasants forced into battle. In the last century, the nobles of Apex took a liking to the weapon, and it has since become the weapon all serious Vendrian Guard warriors endeavor to master. You! His attention lands on you. A double take of recognition comes over the man's face. The Peacebinder from the war. Conquest decision. The people of Apex know you as Peacebinder for your efforts to negotiate a surrender from the Vendrian Guard, saving them the costly conclusion to an inevitable defeat. You met only a faction of the Vendrian Guard in person, but nearly all of them watched your captains bow to you. It would seem your reputation precedes you. If you come once again to talk peace, it seems you're too late. Drop your weapon and perhaps we can settle this without bloodshed. Actually, while I did negotiate peace, that was then, this is now. You guys broke your oath. There is no escape, and for oathbreakers, no surrender. Then we'll settle this with bronze. The warrior points toward you, ordering his men to advance. The fools don't know when to stop. I like that. Charge! As he signals for his men to charge, the sound of chanting rises from the south, drawing his attention. Scarlet Chorus reinforcements. Hurry! Mocking blaze. Run down the Oathbreakers! Let none escape! From the red mob of reinforcements from the south, a blood chanter emerges at the head of the rabble. The ornamental crest of her staff, pulsing with crimson tones. Signing sigils of magic and wordlessly moving her mouth, the blood chanter scribes a series of spells into the air. A red glow surrounds the Vendrian Guard warriors as the chanter's magic worms its way into their minds, blinding them with rage. Hold position, all of you! You there! Keep to the path! The warrior jesters along the canyon trail, but his soldiers turn their attention to the Scarlet Chorus, roaring challenges. No! Don't engage them, we need to run! His orders falling on deaf ears, the warrior reluctantly readies his weapon.
Heads up.
Alright. Now I'm gonna demonstrate that little duo ability that you do. And that's just telling you about companion abilities.
On it.
Alright, first you might want
Sorry.
to take a potion.
Let's see what falls out of you.
You might want to set him on fire. Oh, that works. So Tarkus is now dead. Let's get you in fire. Pity that doesn't affect his companion. But...
Never had a chance.
Never had a chance.
On it.
Come, quick! We have a situation on a cliffside. They have the commander.
You should loot some of these bodies before moving on. Where they're going, I don't think they'll miss their gear.
So, a bent bronze sword, looks like more vendor bait. Crate over here. Some cheese and a head wrap. Weapons and armor are strewn haphazardly around the cart. Every blade shows signs of rust, and every piece of armor is in need of repair. And those are more signs of the esteemed Scarlet Chorus. The symbol of the Scarlet Chorus is smeared in blood on the tattered cloth tent. No effort has been made to repair the gaping tears. So I'm just gonna collect everything. Not exactly sure how to get to the map. Let's see, reputation, talents, character sheet, inventory, missives. Spell creations. Spells are created using 2 more sigils. The core signal, sigil. I don't know much about spell creation, so... Select the core sigil for the magic, followed by the expression sigil to determine what form the spell takes. For example, we're going to create a fireball spell, you select the sigil of flame, followed by the sigil of directed force. Ah, so you can make your own spells. That's actually pretty sweet. This gives it a very interesting... Yeah, why not? Let's make a... Oh. Searing Intent. So I guess you have to have certain sigils available to you before you can unlock everything. Weapons and armor are stacked with neat precision on this transport cart. Every spear is honed and oiled, ready for battle. Like I said earlier, this is basically my first playthrough past the first 5 minutes. Kairos ordered the original icon of disfavored erased from memory. For over 100 years, the disfavored had kept the scratched out iconography, wearing it with pride. Admiring the disfavored sigil, I know a thing or two about that. Really, what do you know? I can't help but notice how you were eyeballing the disfavored symbol littered about the camp. It's hardly a symbol, just a scrawl. It's true, but it used to be the pride of Graven Ash's Legion before Kairos made them deface it. What happened? Word has it that Ash has been under more scrutiny than the other Archons, seeing as he stood against Kairos in the past. Before he bent his knee to Kairos, Graven Ash railed his legions against the Overlord's authority. His prowess in the battlefield ingratiated him to the Archons, who welcomed him into the ranks in exchange for his obedience. Even though he bent the knee in the end, that doesn't place him above suspicion. Kairos and the other Archons keep him on a tight leash. As his troops impressed the growing empire, but Kairos made them sacrifice everything they were up to the point Ash surrendered. They've been disfavored ever since, and fighting to earn back their honor. That's why you don't cross the Overlord. Kairos holds a grudge with a mean jealous streak. I've heard enough. Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I just don't like the Scarlet Chorus. Ooh. Enduring Guard, Bronze Greaves. Let's see. Offer plus 25 armor and plus 175. Crush corrode armor. This torn banner bears the scratched out icon of the disfavored. The armor's original symbol has been lost to history and Graven Ash has never ordered a replacement, preferring the blasted icon over all others. Now, who the heck are you? Cosma. What are you doing? You'll draw attention to me. You coward. Stow your weapons and we'll find out how long a man screams before hitting the ravine down below. Cornered between a precipitous drop and a band of angry soldiers, the Oathbreaker warrior holds the disfavored officer at knife point. Skewer him! Worry not for me. Graven Ash will protect. The disfavored officer winces, blood seeping from the seams of his bracers and cuirass. You heard the man. He plainly invited you to use that little blade of yours. What are you waiting for? Permission from your pimp? This blade? With a jerk of the knife, he slices off a clump of Drastus's matted hair. If you're so eager to see your ally die, just step closer. You know what? I am Belaya Darzu. My name should be known to you, and it should be an honorable one. Give me the knife. You? You're Tunon's envoy? He watches you closely for a long moment until his posture slackens and he lowers the knife. If you will vouch for my safety, then I'll... His sentence is halted by a sphere thrust into his lung. Leaping forward from the monument, Tyrell lowers his blade. The disfavored soldiers slaughter the Oathbreaker. Dazed but alive, Drastus lets out a long sigh and struggles to his feet. And I'm not going to say anything, because that was just a ruse. Kairos be praised. That Oathbreaker fought with the rage of Charon himself. Drastus slides a trembling hand along the cut on his neck. Thank you, Fatebinder. I thought today was my last. From the looks of it, guess they thought if you stormed the pass, maybe one might make it out? We found a few scraps of parchment on the bodies. Drastus holds out a handful of crumpled parchments for you for your inspection. A student of letters such as yourself should be able to make sense of this. Literacy is rare in the Northern Empire, where the disfavored are born and trained. Time spent reading and writing, after all, is time not spent sparring and readying one's mind and body ready for battle. Let's take a look. Repeating the same message in different written scripts, the parchment explained the Vendrian Guard's desire to overthrow Kairos' actions and rout their armies from the tiers. The pages aren't addressed to any specific reader, but rather openly invite all who remain loyal to the Younger Realms to gather at Vendrian's Well. Recruitment material. They were trying to bring more traders to the fight. Well, from the looks of it, we kept them from slipping out of the valley. Whatever they hoped to accomplish, I think their plan died here. The Archons are expecting you. When you're ready, leave by the gate to the southeast and follow the trails down slope for a few hours. You'll see the campfires leagues away. Can't miss it. Alright, that's all the rebels dealt with. We've got a nice little blade here. Some grain, another scroll. Ooh, scroll, sigil of distant impact. I wonder, what does that make? Sigil of, let's see. Sigil of focused intent. Sigil of lightning. I wonder if do I have to, hang on. Hang on, let me check my stats again. I've got 43 lore skill. I don't know why I can't, like... Let's see. All equipment, other... And then this is the edict. Fun fact, you can actually read this edict on the Day of Swords and it won't take effect until the next Day of Swords. Oh great, the camping supplies have carried over from pillars. Let's see, consumables. Are the scrolls like on my quick bar? Scarlet Poison. These are our battle stances, combo abilities. Let's see. Well, let's talk to some people. Thank you for your assistance. Fatebinder, Aurora salutes as you approach. We are honored by your presence. Need something? Oh, what's the situation here? The Oathbreakers hold the citadel at the heart of the valley, the one built around the base of the spire. Aurora points east towards the tower in the distance. The Batani River has been our largest headache during the siege. It's unsafe for armored troops to ford, safer at key locations, and the enemy knows this as well as we do. I know it'd be a lot further along if the Scarlet Chorus used its alleged strength in numbers to ford the river themselves and overwhelm the enemy. Aurora looks at Verse with a disapproving air. As it is, we must take the valley slowly and advance the disfavored bulwark, since that's where the real work gets done. Because all it takes is numbers to cross a river under a hail of arrows. If the disfavored were quicker to act, maybe the Vendrian Guard wouldn't be so afraid to trained up to face us. Let's see. If either of you was correct, the campaign would be over and I wouldn't be here. A fair point, but the Legion is eager to gain some perspective on our quarrels. Consequently, I retract my previous remark. Really? Because I don't. Next time you say something, try to mean it. How long have you been with the disfavored? 7 years. She paused to count on her fingers. 2 seasons, mayhap a handful of days. I trained at Fort Resolution a bit before the Conquest. Compared to the commanders you find around camp or stationed at Iron Hearth, that makes me one of the young bloods. This has been a long and grueling campaign, but the end is in sight. We'll soon have the Oathbreakers back under control. Then we can rest, retrain, and even cycle out troops so we can see our families again. What can you tell me of the Vendrian Guard? They are the last gasp of the younger realms. Among them are warriors that escaped the Bastard City siege, a few refugees from other victories, and a bunch of Vendrian locals with delusions of independence. These southern wastrels cannot match our iron, nor the chorus's numbers. What on Terratus gave them the nerve to rise up and ask for a second helping of battle is anyone's guess. See anything interesting during the war? I once saw a forge-bound artisan set himself on fire. Occupational hazard. That was an unpleasant day. The first of many, to be honest. I heard about the edict you proclaimed at the burning library, but thankfully I wasn't there. One fire was enough for me. Carry on. Have a pleasant siege.
Can't do that. On it.
There's something funny about that. This once pure water of Queen Lysanthius that carries his tears has run red with blood since Kairos' forces invaded. Ancient Weeping Mother statue pays homage to the Queen Lysarius, first of her name. Fresh water once flowed from the statue, but when Kairos' forces attacked Vendrian's well in 429, the statue began weeping blood, and has done so ever since. That's pretty fucked up, actually. I'm gonna need 39 to subterfuge to
Can't
open
do that.
thing.
Sorry, I can't.
Can't even get to it right now. Let's see. Ah, you're still alive. The prisoner says his name's Tarkus Demos. Drastus lets out a long sigh, tapping his gauntleted fingers to his temple. Then I don't think this is a complicated matter. He dies. His family's been a driving force in the Vendrian Guard. Killing him should demoralize whatever's left of the Tarkus clan. All must be given a chance to find absolution in the service of the Scarlet Chorus. The mage points a finger at the disfavored officer. And you know full well this has always been our way. He has a chance to be slave or soldier. Only then do we feed him to the pigs. We'd let you take prisoners, but you can't control them. You sent these conscripts out on patrol and they never returned, defecting all over again. I can't let this nonsense strategy continue. Well, I insist this Oathbreaker be taken to the Voices of Nerat, leaving us at an impasse. Fortunately, we have a Fatebinder here to settle the matter for us. The chanter turns to you, an expectant smile creeping across her face. So, what say you? What should become of this prisoner? Well, I am gonna add... What gives? Last I was here, this favorite showed a little more mercy to the enemy. The commander lets out a long sigh as he touches the wound by his neck. These filthy hill people are spat on the surrender. We were fools to ever treat them as anything more than violent children. Mercy is what got us into this protracted fight. Let's not continue this mistaken strategy. And you know what? They've got a point. Execute. Execute Order 66. The Tearsmen can't be trusted. Rakes, thieves, and I'm not going to say that. Nothing more. We were far too merciful the first time. Drastus nods to a nearby warrior. Have this one tied up. He and his friends can watch each other rot in the sun. I won't keep you here any longer, Fatebinder. I know you have important business in the valley. Drastus salutes you, his iron gauntlet wrapping across against his breastplate. For the glory of Kairos.
I got it.
And that's the end of what was his name again? Tarkus, yeah. I'm gonna be so bad with these names. Okay, you. Fatebinder, what an honor to have one in Tunon's court visit our humble holdfast. Need supplies? If so, you come to the right place. Sure. Let's see what you got. Is there anything I don't need? Or want, rather. Well, I'm going for a magic build and not necessarily a flame build, so I'm just gonna, let's see, friction 1%. I might start wearing that. Let's see, Staff of Entropy, huh? That's more than I can afford right now. Do you have camping supplies? You do. I don't really think I need. Ooh. Those scrolls are nice. Let's see. I already know that sigil anyway. How about this? Slightly increases the duration of a spell. Okay. I'm just gonna trade that. Let's see. Is there anything you need to sell? Nope. Okay. And I think this is our point of ingress right here. Oh. I can't even climb the rope. That's okay, you're not going to be able to do everything if you, like, the first time off, especially if you don't build your shit correctly. Hang just a moment, I'm gonna find the map key here. This is stupid. It's not M like it was in Pillars. I think M is bound to something already. Maximize log size. Let's see. find that in. Oh, I don't even need to bind it at all. Whatever. Store, certain songs, critical hit, spell scrolls. Let's take a look at spell scrolls. You discovered a scroll that contains the image. If a member of your party has a high enough lore skill, you can learn the sigil and use it to craft spells. If you meet the lore requirement for the scroll, right-click the scroll icon, and then select on the learn button at the bottom of the interface. Where the heck is the scroll? Mutation, artifact, health stance, weapon stance, formations, select all party members, stealth.
Will do.
This is a very different interface to Pillars of Eternity. Reputation, journal, talents, character sheet, inventory, spell creation, spire, missives, world map, in-game menu. Disengagement attack. Once one of your party members has been hit with a disengagement attack. A disengagement attack occurs when one character is engaging another character in combat. The person that you're engaging tries to move away. Keep careful of how your party members move on the battlefield to avoid receiving those attacks. That's a pause button. Let's see. Scrolls. Wouldn't they be in my inventory? Some patience would be nice, guys. I am still learning the ropes of everything. And I'll put that on. Actually, no. That looks dumb. Armor, consumables, accessory. These are accents. I need to select a core sigil before proceeding. I need to select an expression sigil before proceeding. As journal. Ah, would they be here? Notes, records, biography. Okay, I am truly sorry, everyone. I'm just trying to find how to use these friggin' scrolls that I know for a fact that I picked up. And this is our character biography. Tutorials. Aha. Okay. Let me see. Spell scrolls. Right click on the scroll icon and click on the learn button. Another. Oh, right. He's being hung out to dry. Heh, heh. Spire. Spell creation. Inspection interface, what the fuck? I'll try it again when I can find or afford another scroll. For now, let's press onward. Is there anything over here? Ah, yeah, I can climb up there. Get to that.
Not happening.
Damn.
I got it.
What are my points in subterfuge, huh? Let's see. Only 25? Damn. What about you? Ah, only 5 more subterfuge and we can get that.
Aye.
Fatebinder. What do you need?
You learned a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Actually, what are your thoughts on the disfavored? A Varanus, a warren of self-entitled children, yada yada. Okay, I'm gonna just keep going. Let's actually get some progression going. This fort was constructed shortly after routing rebels along the valley's western edge. The Archon Graven Ash directs all disfavored efforts from this location. Travel time 2 hours 45 minutes. Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archon's big over tactics like a pair of magpies, but I need to ask you something first. What's that? The voices of Nerat told me you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel I'm only hearing half the story. So let's have it out. What's so special about you? Why so suspicious? It's just a feeling I've got. When the Archons are together, the air gets as taut as a bowstring. I can't help but think that no amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So I have a mediator from Tunon's court. It doesn't add up. I'm here to deliver an edict. That makes a crazy kind of sense. Considering how long the siege has taxed the armies, I can understand why Kairos would send you with an edict to learn to speed things along. Have you read it? Do you know what it says? The Archons must claim Ascension Hall by the Kairos' Day of Swords, or all will perish. One more thing for the Archons to fight over. Well, thanks for cluing me in. If Kairos sends any lightning our way, just tell me when to duck. Why do you think the Archons are at odds? I've been with the Scarlet Chorus ever since the early days of Conquest, so I can say it's been building for a few years now. There's an energy about those two, like a pair of storms moving to collide. I hear tell that Graven Ash and the voices of Nerat shared some bad blood in the Northern Empire, but I don't know any of the particulars. That's absurd. If the Archons cannot put the past behind them, they are unfit to command. Quick to anger, are we? I'm not disagreeing with you, but I would take care where you speak your mind. Someone is always eager to report slander to their favorite Archon. With all the power they wield, those types are not quick to forgive. What else have they told you? Only that I could find you in the Edgering Ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked you out of a crowd. You're the only one who hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Mittani River. She laughs, but there is a forced nature to it. I really ought to be meeting with the Archons. The war tent is just past the center of camp. She nods towards the northeast. One last thing, be careful around these disfavored types. They take their work seriously, and most have suffered too many blows to the head. And on that note, I'm gonna end the first episode of Tyranny here. When we next convene, we shall meet with the Archons. So, until next time, Fatebinders.